Montalto. I'm the chair of the board for the Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you. It's always important to thank our sponsors because without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do for our members. And those sponsors are Wind Waste Innovations, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital, Certainteed, Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, Tompkins Bank, Service Bike, Powers PR Video, the Emerald Peak, Sun River Health, Orange Bank and Trust Company, Con Edison, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rivertowns Real Estate, River Journal North, Clean Path New York, the Abbey Inn, and Hudson Valley Credit Union. Thank you all. Thank you for all you support us with. I'd also like to mention that we have 2 new members this month. One is in Better Words, and if you are here, if you could stand. Not yet? Okay. And Connie McComb Coaching. Is she here? Okay, well, thank you for joining. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Tim to lead us in the pledge, please.
All right, please stand with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And now our Executive Director, Carol Boise.
Good morning, everyone. We're so glad that you're here. We always have a wonderful turnout when the presentation is by the City of Peekskill. We thank them for all the work that they're doing and looking forward to what you're going to share with us today. Matt Alexander, who is the city manager who is here, is going to do most of the introductions from the city so that we won't be introducing for the next 10-20 minutes and can move along with our program. But I do want to mention Mayor Vivian McKenzie, who is here. Deputy Mayor Patricia Riley. Councilwoman Kathy Talbot. Councilman Dwight Douglas. Councilman Brian Fassett. We also have with us Len Simon, who is the Deputy Mayor of the Village of Croton. And we have Stacy Tompkins from Putnam Valley Town Councilwoman. We appreciate your support. Oh, and Jim Creighton.
Yay, Jim.
This is becoming a thing, Jim. The town of Portland. We have quite a few announcements. I'm going to try to be quick about them because I know that there's some in the room today who also would like to make some announcements. But the announcements from the chamber is we have some wonderful things coming up. We have a business after hours at Slancha. Happy Pie Day. That's also something I was meant to say earlier, right? Happy Pie Day. But we are going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day, the Chamber, and you're welcome to join us on March 20th at Slancha. We also have coming up Celebrating Women in Business. You should see the flyer, our panel, everything. That information is on each of the tables. It's going to be at the Dramatic Hall on March 23rd, and we would really love to have your support and have you come. If you're a bid member or a chamber member, it's free entry, and it's only $10 for those who are not members. So please stop by. We think it's going to be a wonderful time. And then we have a nonprofit boot camp that's going to happen on the 12th, and this is going to be from 8 in the morning to 12. 8:30 to 12:30, and it's going to be, the location is the Creative Station at the JV Mall, and it's our marketing group and nonprofit group working together. They have some 3 different breakout sessions. It's going to be wonderful. You can find more information about that on our website. Coming up on June 9th, we'd love you to save the date for our Stars Along the Hudson, our annual brunch gala. And we also have in September our foundation's annual golf outing that we would love for you to also save that date, September 30th. I'd like to now turn the program over to the City of Peekskill to Mayor Vivian McKenzie. And thank you for all that you do.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the city of Peekskill. I get the easy job today of just giving you a welcome and being so happy that you're all here. But I ask you to take a look outside and see just how beautiful it is, and take a look around the city of Peekskill and see the wonderful things that are happening. On this side of the room, I can see we have all of the staff here from the city of Peekskill, and these are the people that make these wonderful things happen. Thank you to our staff. Thank you for getting up early and being here to support the city manager and the stuff that we're doing in the city. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Alexander, and we're going to put on a fantastic program for you so you can see all the updates and things that are going on here.
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie. The city of Peekskill last year talked about its team approach, and the city of Peekskill very much is a team, and it's very blessed by the great talents that it has in its staff. And we have lots of staff here today, and I'd just like to start this off by asking if all the staff from the city of Peekskill could stand and just be honored. So I talked to Patrick Buckowitz before I started getting prepared for this, and I said, you know, I talk about all of these things every day, like what is it that people want to hear about at this breakfast? And he said they want to hear about everything. So we're going to attempt to take you on a quick tour through everything, and we're going to delve deeper into certain parts. But just to get started, I'm just going to introduce the people that will be speaking. We are proud to announce, if you haven't met Carol Samuel yet, she is our new planning director. Carol brings with her over 2 decades in the Bronx and some experience in Westchester and New Rochelle as well. Peter Irwin is here. And Matt Rudikoff also is our economic development. Both Peter and Matt, as all of our staff does, brings a great level of enthusiasm to the work that they do, and they have put together some good information for you today. We're going to talk about first responders, our quality of life initiative, water and sewer, 21st century climate change and stormwater, parks, community hub, and human services, and then we'll turn it over to planning and development to talk. So some new events for both fire and police. The fire department was successful in bringing to us a 2023 SAFER grant, and this is about $1.7 million of benefits for the city of Peekskill. It allowed us to bring in 6 new firefighters. We swore them in a couple of weeks ago, and they are going to help us ramp up to be able to take care of emergency situations in a much better way. We have 2 new fire trucks on order for 2025, and we've seen an increase in ambulance call assists from the Peekskill Fire Department. The police department, among the many things that they're doing, the Civilian Complaint Review Board training has started. The walking patrol was reinstituted for 2024. They've been out there, and we think that they're making a huge difference. And of course, we continue to work with the Westchester Mental Health Crisis Team, who are installed at the Neighborhood Community Center. And that's been an important component of this, because part of police reform looked for communities to get social workers who are able to be on call and take on the role of dealing with the human element behind police calls. So one of the things that we've been looking at and will continue to look at is quality of life. And for many older cities throughout the United States, this is a very difficult program. You know, we've got 100-year-old infrastructure, we have a need for many repairs, and we also have a great concentration of people, and although most people in Peekskill, almost all people in Peekskill are wonderful people, we occasionally get some litter and some negative activity, and we want to respond to that as quickly as possible to make sure that we draw the line in the sand exactly where it should be. So we have been upping our enforcement efforts, and so we have given you a few measurements of that and just shown you as it compares 2022 and 23, and this is an estimate for all of 24. But that estimate is based on the existing activity for the first 2 months in 2024. So our park, walk, and talk patrols is up. So, and we continue, and we do commit to continuing that trend. And the way that we're going to commit to continuing that trend is by making sure that we invest the resources in that. The vehicle and traffic stops have increased. Rubbish and litter violations have increased. Property maintenance violations have also increased. In some of these, though, you're going to see, and we do expect that these will increase to a point, and then when people start to accept where the line is, you're going to see them start to trend back down, and that is part of our plan, along with education. Overcrowding is something that has plagued the city, and it is not just an issue of quality of life, it's an issue of life and death for our professionals who go in and assist people either as a first responder or even as a code enforcement officer, or even if you are just a renter. So many times we will find that the conditions that are in a very small minority of the housing in Peekskill are so call out for correction, and that's very important to us, that we increase the quality of life for the people that live in these apartments. Nuisance calls have increased greatly and been written up. Fire violations have also increased, and we expect that. And you see a decrease in 2023, but we have put more efforts in for that. One of the reasons for the decrease in the fire violations in 2023 is because as we put more effort into the other columns on this field, you might be in a situation where you're reviewing a potential fire violation, and property maintenance calls out more than a fire violation does. Street light repairs, you see that increase greatly in 2023 and drop off. Our expected number will be much less. I would just want to thank the DPW for all the great work they did on the street lights. They are continuing to work on pedestrian lights, and so one of their main activities is going to be getting a special training in how we can take care of our own pedestrian lights without calling in contractors. The shopping cart law had a great effect, and so most of that increase you see for 23 was in the last part of 23 because of the passage of a new law. And buckets of garbage picked up by DPW workers is what's represented in this next very tall graph. And so we're actually out there picking up garbage even more than we had before, and that's going to continue because we're committed to making sure that if we're violating properties for garbage and holding everyone to a standard, the city is going to hold itself also to that same standard and try to maintain the look of the city as well. And tons of food scraps collected. You don't see the increase there, but there's an increase there, and one of the reasons is, this is measured in tons, and as it compares to the other categories, it's not reaching up very high, but that's something that the DPW put a lot of work into. For the water system provides 4 million gallons per day to 26,000 people at 4,800 connections. The city is plagued with its 100-year-old water infrastructure. It has increased its replacement of gate valves from 3 a year to 15, and sometimes I tell the water superintendent that I think it's way more than that because I take walks as much as I can, and I said to him, they're fixing gate valves every day. I see them out there, and this you know about, because if you live or work in the city of Peekskill and you've experienced a water shutdown, what you should start to notice is that they have greatly changed in the intensity and the regularity. And so this is a direct result of the proactive efforts of our water department, because they are being able to isolate where there's a leak more often because of the replacement of these gate valves, so they can shut down an area and make sure that they isolate it. They also purchased a hydrostop, which is an artificial way to isolate valves and protect other valves and mains from shutdowns as well. So it doesn't mean that you're not still going to get a shutdown in your neighborhood, but it means that more often than before, and this is going to take a long time because there are 653 gate valves we estimate in the city of Peekskill, if not 1,000. So we are working through these valves as well as we can. We've also committed to do almost $15 million of work and secured $8.85 million in grant funds to do that work. This is a huge accomplishment upon the part of the water department and requires great efforts, and they are up to the challenge. They're currently doing dam improvements. They always work on water and sewer mains. This will up that commitment even more. And storage will be increased. Valves, of course, will be done at an even faster rate than that, 15 a year with grant funding, and they're also working on sewer pumps and inflow and infiltration into our sewer system. So during wet weather events, we see lots of water entering our sewer system. So everybody knows that the 21st century has brought 21st century flooding and water issues. The DPW has been tasked with bringing this to the, there you go. So the DPW has been tasked with bringing attention to this and fix to this, and so they have started working on a grant application with the Office of Resilient Homes and Communities, and they have given us $200,000 of assistance in developing a strategy for working on issues of removing water from our streets and other affected areas. This is a huge undertaking because it will engage lots of areas that Peekskill has not seen get this kind of water in the past. All right. So also, parks are undergoing a tremendous transformation. And at this time, I would like to acknowledge all of the hard work of Kathy Montaldo, and say to her, congratulations. After 22 years of cumulative time, I think, Kathy, but really over 30 years of time with the city here in person. She's retiring, and we're very sad to see her go. Kathy has seen wonderful things happen, and so you're going to see by May, Depew Park will be done with its $1 million plus renovation, and we're going to have a grand opening for that. We're going to honor Kathy Montaldo with that, and I'll be giving you more information about that when it happens. You're also seeing $6+ million of work go on down at the riverfront, which is mainly Fleischman's Pier, but there will be other work done at that location. And then, if you missed it, in case you missed it, in the fall of 2023, the Speaker of the Assembly, Carl Heastie, visited the city of Peekskill with Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg, and they awarded us $1.825 million in assistance, 1.7 of it to bring safe safe structures underneath them. So it's like where you see the wood chips underneath the playground surfaces. So that's one of the main purposes of this, and we'll see new playground equipment at McKinley, Leetport, Franklin, Riverfront, Depew, and Park and Finch, which is part of Tompkins Park. And we're also going to get some help at the community hub. And at this time, I'd like to ask Jonathan if he could say just a couple of minutes about the community hub and what that's all about. Jonathan Zamora works in our nutrition department and also with the seniors, and he, Kathy Montaldo, and Tuesday McDonald, who is right here, and so they have formed a supportive network amongst the three of them, whereby they will work together to get human services taken care of in the future. So.
Have you ever seen the look on someone's face the day they get a job? Or hear the relief in someone's voice when their heavy problem gets solved? One of the goals of the Peekskill Community Hub is to bring these realities to our residents. And while results are important, I'm going to share 3 ways that we help the entire community. I'm Jonathan Zamora, a program specialist, and together with my team, responsible for bringing meaningful resources and assistance to Peekskill residents. So what does that mean? We help alleviate resident concerns. We connect residents to offices, organizations, and programs that can help solve their most pressing situations. Here's how. First, we maintain an active list of requests and feedback from the community, with surveys meant to identify the needs of residents. The big idea here is to gather the information and use it to bring about real solutions. For seniors with questions about changes in Social Security, teens needing help with college essays or job applications, or adults needing a roadmap on how to care for an ill or aging parent. These are the types of concerns the community help can help solve. Next, we offer programs to help enrich and promote self-development within a safe campus of facilities located on Main Street. These 2 buildings are the Neighborhood Center and Youth Bureau. For residents re-entering the workforce, getting assistance with updating or creating a resume, learning how to use Google Suite, and even obtaining a laptop for personal use at no charge, the Community Hub can help. For young adults wanting to focus their energy and gain job readiness skills, we offer workforce development programs that combine hands-on experience with positive mentoring support and local entrepreneurs. Last, we provide space within the campus for organizations and programs to be on-site, assisting residents in person. Having a centrally located, safe environment to offer and receive assistance is another way city leadership is committed to supporting our community. Next week, we're holding an open house where residents can meet and visit several of our community partners, and for seniors not yet members of our senior meal program, can join us as guests during our 12 noon on-site dining service. We're excited and ready to launch the Peekskill Community Hub and show prospective, new, and longtime residents what Peekskill can do for them. Thank you.
So please join Jonathan, Tuesday, Kathy at this Community Hub open house. Also, we would like to hear what you think about what the community needs in terms of this hub. So certainly, Kathy and Tuesday have brought many valued programs to the city's youth. Jonathan has been working on programs for the city's seniors, and but what we noticed, and one of the things that started this approach was we have a senior citizen kitchen, which opens up at dawn, before dawn maybe, and they start cooking, start working, and they serve a lunch at the end of their day, and they clean up, and we were seeing our seniors leave that center around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were having trouble identifying how to attract youth to come to a program that we put on this past year, which we're going to have another program this year. And that program is based on teaching 18 to 24-year-olds as its main target audience, how to make the transition from high school on to a future. And so Jonathan's trained at Johnson & Wales, and he works with the youth while they have a credible mentor at their side who's able to talk to them about, like, what are your goals, what's the obstacles to you getting to your goals. So this has been a great continuation of what Tuesday and Kathy already do so well, but we saw a need to kind of continue this into the nighttime, and we're looking for more ways to do that. So we're very excited about what that program can do and how we can enhance and support better what Tuesday and Kathy do for the city of Peekskill. That being said, that kind of wraps up the part of this program that talks about all things other than planning development. So I'm going to ask for everybody to give a warm welcome to newly appointed Carol Sammel, who is our new planning director.
Thank you, Matt. So, you might hear that I don't have a voice. I'm so frustrated by this. I hope I don't frustrate you. But like a good planner, always for this to happen, it happens this week. I will adjust, and I hope it's not too painful for you. It's not painful for me, but here we are. So it is very good to be here. I'm very happy to be in Peekskill. It is a wonderful city, and you all have been so welcoming. And I really enjoy all the people I work with and the people I've met in the city. Everyone is just, it's been a wonderful welcome. But planning, we really are focused on a wide variety of issues, everything from housing to the public realm, how we get around the city, and how we work, where we work, and how we invest in our businesses. But, it wouldn't be a planning presentation without some demographics. So, we are growing, we're diversifying, and we're aging. And we have to plan for all of those things. This really tracks with the country, quite frankly. But, it means that we need to be thinking about the way that we engage people, to think about different cultural references and traditions. But then also thinking about the aging population. The people we have here, as we're attracting an older population and as we're aging in place, that is a very good thing, that people want to stay here and in their prime earning years are here to share with businesses in Peekskill. Our housing is also growing. It's growing faster than the county. We do have a higher share of renters, which I think we all know. About half of the people here rent. 70, almost, 2/3 or 3/4 of the housing units are built before 1979. Now, I will not call that old. I'm sure you all can appreciate that. But our household income, interestingly, has increased 58%. And I think that's a flux of people coming into the city. But at the same time, it's very important to note that household costs have gone up 20% in that same time frame. So there's a balance there. But we still have 11%, almost 12% of our households that are in the poverty threshold. That's about $26,000 a year. So we need to take care of all of the households here. Housing is a very important investment and goal that we have here, whether it's housing quality or building new housing. So I'll focus a little bit on this. But some of the housing that we have opening, like last year we had 645 Main Street, which is an entirely 100% affordable building. It's a beautiful building right there on Main Street. Brown Street, 1108 Brown Street is opening this spring. That brings 181 apartments plus other amenities, including a public playground and park space and plaza. So when that's open, I would encourage you all to take advantage of that. We have some significant housing that's been approved. Some of it's underway. And this is in the past year with South Street condominiums. They're on the crest of the hill. We can all see is under construction. Then we also have 823 South Street and 1102 Main Street. Smaller buildings, not yet broken ground, but okay. I don't know what's going on with this. My screen. Okay. I'm just going to move on. Sorry. There we go. So, also in process, we have some significant diversity in the housing. We have some rental apartments on Division Street and in Broad Howard, as we heard earlier from Mr. Lesnick. We also have home ownership opportunities in Frost Lane, or Peekskill Views, as it's called. It is an important opportunity to think about affordable home ownership, and this is an opportunity that we have here, that we townhomes with the preservation of some open space. But these are all in process, so we'll watch and see how they go. That said, in the pipeline, if you will, we have about more than 1,000 units that have either been approved or that are in process, and have approached the city, or that are, other properties where we've been approached that people are interested in. So that's pretty significant in the city of Peekskill, that is on the horizon. And that's where planning comes in to make sure we're accounting for that and getting ready for that. One of the last things I'll talk about, before I'll turn it over to Peter, is the comprehensive plan, which I'm very excited about. The comprehensive plan hasn't been done here, so it really is a new venture. It's a citywide look, and we try to. It's an opportunity for us to think deeply about each of these categories, but also to think about them as a whole, thinking across them. How is housing and environment and resiliency? How's our shoreline and the infrastructure that we need? We heard a lot about that from the city manager. But then how do we relate housing and transportation, plus how we're growing our jobs, our tourism, our parks and recreation? So it is a very important moment for us all to come together. It's an important moment to build community. And I'm very much up for the challenge. I'm excited to do this work. It will take us some time. I'm excited. I will be excited to come back to you, hopefully when I can actually speak more clearly and confidently, to talk to you all as business people and as investors in the city of Peekskill, to understand your needs and how the city in the future should look for you. We also have a really important deep dive we got a grant from the state to take a deep dive into workforce housing. And workforce housing is, 60 to 80% of AMI, but it's people who are working. You could have 2-income households, and we want to make sure that they have a place to live here in Peekskill. And this is an opportunity with the comp plan to take a deep dive and make sure that we're planning for their future. So I'm going to turn it over now to Peter Irwin, who will speak to you about the Downtown Revitalization Initiative and the progress that we've been making over the past year. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Good morning, everyone. I will be pretty quick. I just want to say that over the last 2 years, the strategy behind our Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which is a state-funded program, has really come into view. We wanted to start with Pugsley Park and talk about leverage. So we originally had less than $500,000 to spend at Pugsley Park, but we worked with our landscape architect and our resident advisory committee to come up with a visionary design. And that led to additional state grants, and we have now raised $1.2 million for Pugsley Park, and we hope the park will open by June 1st of this year. So this photograph was taken last week. I would encourage everyone to walk past on your way out today. It may look a little barren, but the contractor will be planting 47 new native tree species in the next few weeks. And like I said, we hope to be having movie nights and concerts there in no time. When you go, the pathways and the seating areas that we've created highlight new views of historic Peekskill, like the rose window at St. Peter's Church. We also have Fleischman Pier, which was mentioned, and Charles Point Park. This is a major focal point of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative at the other end of the city. The project will include a new pier serving a variety of commercial boats. And Matthew will talk a little bit more about the economic development potential of that improvement. The park surrounding it will include new seating and shade structures, new restrooms, a kayak launch, concession area with food trucks, and additional amenities for bus drop-offs and activities, and an ADA pathway. The Paramount Theater will undergo a major renovation to restore the historic facade and improve the visitor experience, including new exhibition spaces and really maximizing the street frontage that they have in an area of the city that's come a long way. Finally, the Downtown Revitalization Fund is a $700,000 fund established to provide small capital loans to our local businesses. For example, the first of these completed projects is expected to be outdoor seating at Terra Dulce Bakery, which is here on Main Street, right across from Pugsley Park. And of course, a future project will be the Gateway Chambers building on Division Street. So how do we link these focal points or attractions together? We want to make downtown and our city more cohesive, more inclusive. The Civic Hub project, not the community hub that Jonathan mentioned, is what we call Brown Plaza or Gazebo Plaza, which will bring new urban design to Peekskill in 2025. We are finalizing construction documents for bidding right now and expect to break ground early in the new year. The pedestrian and cyclist connectivity project will bring pedestrian and cyclist infrastructure to Central Avenue, South Water Street, and Railroad Avenue, providing a safe and cohesive and convenient connection for everyone to get between downtown and our waterfront. This project will be coordinated with the planned improvements to the grade crossing by the Metro North Railroad, and we've also applied for $4 million in funding to construct a really groundbreaking trailway or greenway between the waterfront and downtown, which would be an amenity for residents as well as a regional attraction. We have a wayfinding project, and the intention is to improve the user experience to downtown. We want everyone to be able to come here to find parking easily and feel comfortable walking to their destination. The wayfinding project will include signage at the gateways to downtown, vehicle directions and parking, kiosks directing folks to points of interest, as well as pedestrian and cyclist enhancements. We had a great walkthrough and site visit with our advisory committee on that project last month. And the last project I wanted to mention briefly was Enlighten Peekskill, and I want to thank both the Hudson Valley Museum of Contemporary Art and the Peekskill Arts Alliance for bringing this project to fruition. I think one of the best ways we can create wayfinding and visitor experience is through public art and also fostering a sense of community among people who live here. You all have flyers on your tables about some of the public art that we have today. This will be expanded by 5 new lighted public sculptures along that walking route, Railroad Avenue, South Water Street, Central Avenue, inviting visitors to get off the train and walk up the hill to downtown. We expect this to be integrated with an experience on your phone where you might scan a QR code, learn about the artist, see that the next piece is just up the street. And finally, the Peekskill Arts Alliance is working with artists to bring beautiful murals to several buildings downtown, including at the Bean Runner Cafe, the Bruised Apple Bookstore, and the Fern Tree on South Division Street. Everything I've presented here is happening in the next 12 months. We really feel like the Downtown Revitalization Initiative will accomplish its goals and transform the city, and we're very excited about that. Thanks. Matthew Rudicoff is our Economic Development Specialist. I'll pass the mic.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. I wanted to just touch on Fleischman Pier for a moment, because Peter went through that slide pretty quickly, much more quickly than the importance of that project deserves, because it's really going to be a regional facility with many amenities and components of infrastructure that are going to really be drawing people in addition to the dock itself. And in the photograph, the pier that's being built is not finished yet, and the length of it and the size of it doesn't speak to how large it really is. The pier is 487 feet long, which is very substantial. The longest piece going out into the water is over 300 feet long, and the kinds of boats that we're already in discussions with and have already expressed very real desires to come to Peekskill for is large enough to handle the largest sort of American cruise line cruisers, which are 200 feet long and are 170-foot kind of passenger ships. And those are the kind of ships that we're intending to have there. In addition to the other improvements that are being made, we're adding a water line. We have boats that are interested in having this location be their home port, so they are there regularly. We're sort of paying a great deal of attention to the boats not having food services which would compete with other food services in the downtown waterfront. And so we're trying to pay attention to that kind of thing. In addition to home ports, we're going to have overnight stays by some of the major cruise ships. And so it's really going to be an attention-drawing thing. And it's a wonderful area, component of infrastructure, and tying into to economic development. What I'd like to do now is talk about some of the growing jobs and businesses. And marketing and branding, that's another part of the DRI project, which is a sister project or a companion project to the wayfinding project that's underway. And as part of that project, we are reaching out to communities of interest to get their input on what kinds of attributes can best sell Peekskill, discovering the kinds of means of reaching them, redoing some branding and having a new logo, developing some marketing videos, and doing a sophisticated 21st century kind of social media outreach system where attributes and posts and things of importance can be spread out through influencers and through the kinds of media that we know we're all us older people are just trying to get used to and see what the potential is of that. We're expecting the completion of that project this year in 2024, but one of the things that's part of this project is that the city will receive a toolkit, which will be a how to continue this project into the future, with a budget, with activities, with staff demands. So it's something that really is looking to be continued on into the future. Among this work, a lot of what's happening is happening on its own just because of the buzz that's occurring in Peekskill. And there's just as there's a boom in housing, there's also a boom in retail uses. And so some of the new retail uses is Gleason's, having moved into to South Division Street, the former Rocco's, Salante at 21 South Division Street, Benny's Brown Bag, which is a really cool new deli that was a deli in the past, but it's right next to one of the schools. Taco District on Division Street, which is adding to the concentration of Latinx kinds of food offerings. The 140 Kitchen at 911 South Street. Timeless Thai restaurant on North Division. Cannabis dispensaries. What can we say about it? You know, it's a new world out there, you know. And so we have that, and I hope you're all shopping there. So they need the business. Give them the business. But nevertheless, it's real business, and properly regulated. It's going to be an important component of destination retail. And along the lines of retail, the city's also instituted a new program, and the first one of it was at the Whiskey River, where upon submitting an application, and anyone can contact me for an application, we can have your business designated as having a business day. And that would accompany all of our public relations components and mechanisms. And so think about having your business designated as a business day. A business day. What's also happening on retail is the Business Improvement District with Bill Powers and with our new chairman, Richard Rogers, has really formulated a retail action committee. And so there's new attention being paid to identifying the retail areas that are available for rent, because a lot of our retail spaces aren't available for rent for kinds of reasons that the city's really trying to dig into and have them be made available. And some very major internet stuff. One of the major influences, Bethany Frankel, actually popped in at Birdsall's, and that was widely distributed. And the owner of Gleason said that he's gotten 1,000 reservations from that post, and that's certainly something that we want to continue. We welcome our new businesses and we promote them. We have ribbon cuttings for them, and also there are new businesses that haven't quite happened yet, but that the city was very instrumental in getting. And so this is 630 Washington Street, right at the corner of Roosevelt or Roosevelt, depending upon your perspective on that. But we got them a $2 million grant almost 2 years ago from the Restore New York project for that family to open a new 12,000 square foot market. And the incredible thing about that is, if you drive down Washington, down to Welsher, and you see it being like sort of a commercial strip, and it is an arterial roadway with commercial along the way, but on both sides of it, it's an extremely substantial residential neighborhood on both sides. I counted maybe 300 or 400 homes are right within that area. So this is really providing essential neighborhood services to an area that is really in need of it. That Restore New York program that we talked about for Cosmos Market, which is the name of the Washington Street Market, there's a new round of Restore New York, and the city is right now exploring the different projects that are potential recipients and users of that grant funding, and which could be an application that the city could make, because it has to be a city application, to help support that business. So that's a process that's underway right now, and we're very excited about that. And so we're looking for a new grant for that. One of the things that I'm sort of most proud of, I wanted to say a little bit more about the Restore New York program. Is that this? That must be after this. The Restore New York program. So the Restore New York program, it's a New York State grant. It is a grant. We're reaching out to the communities, and we have some interested parties, and we're moving forward with that. One of the things that I'm most proud of in terms of the work that I've done here in Peekskill, aside from getting to know you all and trying to extract from you things that can benefit you and your businesses and the city, is the kitchen incubator. And that was a former firehouse that was made available for reuse when this central fire station that we're in right now was built. And so what that is a 8,000 square foot adaptive reuse of the firehouse, and it's going to create 5 commercial kitchens which are going to be available for rent by new food entrepreneurs. And one of the incredible things about this project is that it's a joint venture of the city, of the PIA, the Industrial Development Agency, the Facilities Development Corporation, and it's with multiple funding. And one of the really nice things about this is that this project is working sort of in conjunction with the community hub that Jonathan was talking about, because the first program that they did was actually culinary training. And we had a wonderful program where people were trained with getting food handling certificates and are really going to be a potential workforce that the incubator can use. And the IBA is funding the next round of that community planning. The next slide is city-owned property. So in addition to grants, in addition to the kind of DRI implementation that we're doing, we also are looking at the city-owned properties to see which of those city-owned properties could be potential development sites. What's outlined in yellow in this slide are 3 city-owned commuter parking lots on South Water Street and on at the corner of Railroad Avenue and Recourse Street. And this, the council has before them in the coming meeting a resolution to authorize the submission of a request for proposals. We're calling it a request for expressions of interest to the developers in the region to see what kinds of development concepts they have for these 3 parcels that the city and the council can begin to review. Let's talk. Questions and answers. Matthew, you're going to moderate questions and answers? Thank you very much.
So there's a couple of things going on. So I think if we still have time, I think we went a little over, but if we still have time, we could do some questions and answers if you want. If the chamber is good.
Thank you for this very informative proposal. I hope that you're able to take this roadshow throughout Peekskill. It's just a lot of good information. So my questions are, can we get the data on the resident identified needs that Jonathan referenced? That would be really helpful to know what residents are saying they need. And that goes into, is it possible to put the slides for the presentations on the city website? Because there's really great information in there. And my last question is, for the DRI fund, are those micro grants or micro loans?
So the DRI fund are micro grants, and so they do have some strings attached to them as well. I don't know if Peter needs to say more about them than that, but I think that's it. So they are grants. They have all been awarded at this point. There is the possibility that some would come out and not be able to fulfill their obligations and would get re-released. I want to make sure we get Chuck Newman.
Yeah,
Chuck.
thank you. So as a lifelong voter at Peekskill, I think about the possibility of tourism from the river into Peekskill. And I've discussed this with Matt before. Peter mentioned something about dredging around the Fleischman Pier. But Peekskill Bay has been silted in over the century. You see historic pictures of Peekskill Bay. There were big ships in it. Can't get them in. At low tide, you've got about 2 feet of water. So future dredging may be needed, but even now you can attract boaters who are going out for a night, want to go to Peekskill restaurants, if there was some type of a launch service to bring those boaters into the shore. So I want to put that out there. Peekskill Yacht Club does accommodate those boaters if they call ahead and we have space for them, but just a vision of Peekskill from the river looking at the town, which people here might not necessarily envision all the time, is a future vision of tourism, I think, for Peekskill that Peekskill should consider.
Thank you, Chuck. So we will put this on the website. Are there any other questions?
Us.
They're all as far amazing.
It's more of a request for a video since, Bean Runner is one of my clients. So this will be a video for them, and I'll tag, of course, the chamber as a collaborator. I'm going to set up in the front. Can everyone just cheers their coffee when I say go? Okay, one sec.
So I think one of the takeaways that before we do this is that the City of Peekskill Economic Development and Planning is interested in what you think, because the truth is that none of our team did this without any of you, because Peekskill has wanted this kind of transformation for a long, long time, and it's built very much on the efforts of the past and all of the people that have put so much work into making Peekskill what it is today, which is on its way to being even greater than it was before. And so we appreciate all of that input and want to continue getting that kind of input. Chloe?
Oh yes, thank you. All right, ready? So I'm gonna go, because I'm a former dancer, I'm gonna go 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you're gonna go cheers to Peekskill with your coffee, your non-alcoholic, hopefully, coffee. It is 8 a.m. It's always 5 p.m. somewhere. Anyway, ready? And we'll do a few takes. So take number 1. 5, 6, 7, 8. Cheers. Nice. And then take number 2. 5, 6, 7, 8. Cheers. Yay, thank you.
That was a great letter. So Simply and Carol, I just want to thank the Chamber so much for this opportunity to talk to everybody who's interested in Peekskill. Thank you so much, Carol.
Thanks, Matt. That was fantastic, right? Let's give the city a round of applause. We know that a presentation like that does not just happen overnight, so we thank you. Thank you, everyone, for putting that together, and it was informative. And our next networking breakfast will be April 5th. It's on a Friday, and it is the town of Portland, so we hope you will join us for that.